Hello, everyone. Whoa, that was a little loud. Sorry. All right. We're going to get started. I'm going to turn this over to our General Manager, Judy Italiano. Thank you for coming out. I'm Howard Guess. I'm the President of MEA. This is an important time, and without further ado, here's our General Manager for the rest of the introductions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to see a big turnout again as we had last time. All the years that I have bargained for you at the table with Ann Smith, we've never been in the situation that I think we're headed for here. We've had rough years that many of you in the 90s spent with us up there on that parkade, picketing council members and talking to them about your issues, but we always were able to achieve results in some way or another. This year's bargaining is headed in a direction very quickly that I don't know that we're going to accomplish anything that we set out to accomplish at the table. What we need to have you hear today is what's going on and what we're doing about it and what you're going to do about it. And I'm hoping that when we're finished, all of you will sign up here to help us. We are going to have to begin our picketing every morning before work, every lunchtime, and every evening after work to catch this city council, to call attention to the fact that they need to get the mayor going on this contract. If you've heard Roger Hedgecock's show and all the other issues where he's been out there talking in the community, he's just planning on imposing a contract and doesn't really intend to bargain with us. We need the council to tell him to do something different, and we're going to need your help for that. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the person that you really came to hear from, and that's Ann Smith. What's going on at the table will come from her, and then we'll finish it up. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The first thing I want to hear everybody say is, do you deserve a fair contract? Yeah! All right, now let's hear you say it. I deserve a fair contract. Ladies and gentlemen, you work for a municipal corporation, and if you were listening yesterday, you would have heard a number of council members make the very valid point that this municipal corporation is essentially a Fortune 600 corporation. But unfortunately, it has a CEO who is running for re-election. And his re-election, he thinks, depends on showing the public that the way you appreciate and motivate a workforce is to tell them no to everything that would make their work lives even slightly better. And that is the climate in which we're bargaining. So this mayor, with the political agenda he has, is telling your union no with regard to everything that has been proposed, no matter how reasonable and no matter how rational. And that includes a cost of living adjustment, which would be 2.3% based on the cost of living index for San Diego for 2007 over 2006. The mayor says no. That includes a plan that he calls healthcare reform, which is nothing more than a big takeaway of flexible benefits plan dollars from most of you. Some benefit for some of you, but with most of you losing money and the city taking that money from you and putting it in its own pocket. And that is unacceptable. The mayor has a plan for a new pension program, as you know, for new hires. And it's a shameful elimination of a decent defined benefit plan, which is the only way that people can have a secure retirement. And what he's done is, with a few people who are his immediate colleagues in his office, for months he's been meeting in secret with consultants. He hasn't included the independent budget analyst. He hasn't included anyone on behalf of the City Council, who are also trying to run this municipal corporation, and he's come up with a plan design that is going to make it a sure thing in this city that there will not be capable, quality people here to serve the residents, because this city won't be able to compete with every other public employer that's got a decent defined benefit plan. But the mayor seems to be oblivious to that, because he's got a proposal and only one proposal, and he made it to us on March 3rd, and he hasn't even budged from it since then. So the big train of bad faith bargaining is coming down the tracks, ladies and gentlemen, and it's headed right for us. And we need to speak up and speak out and let the City Council know, because they're trying to run this city and they're trying to make judgments that are in the best interest of the city, and their day to do that is going to be at an impasse hearing on April 28th. So let me run down the issues for you and make sure everybody's got a really clear idea of what's happening. The mayor appears to have a philosophy that the occasional banner that he hangs from City Hall that says "Thank you, city employees" is all he needs to do to motivate and thank you. He thinks that that banner is going to pay the rising cost of food in the supermarket. He thinks it's going to fill your gas tanks with gasoline at $3.80, soon to be $4 a gallon. And he thinks that unless your job classification can't recruit or retain employees, that unless you are so understaffed in the jobs you do, that he doesn't even need to be concerned about providing you a minimum cost of living adjustment. And he thinks that's how you run a Fortune 600 company. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need to tell him and everyone else that we are not ashamed to be city employees, that you have put up with being the scapegoats, you have put up with the harsh, relentless rhetoric of the anti-union forces in this town. You have weathered the trauma that has gone on in this city for 4 to 5 years. You have done your jobs despite that trauma. You have done your jobs despite the rhetoric. You've done your jobs despite the kind of hateful attacks that all city employees have been subjected to. And nevertheless, here you stand with nothing but a single banner that ever got held from City Hall saying thank you. And there is nothing that's on the bargaining table to this point in our negotiations, with only 2 weeks remaining, that even acknowledges the value that you bring to the residents of San Diego in the work you do for them. And if you have corporate leaders who don't get that, then all they're doing is showing you that they are the incompetent ones, and that we are not going to make progress as a city and as a workforce in being able to do what the residents expect. And so let me run down the issues, because many of you have asked, and there are a number of handouts, but it's no to a general salary increase of 2.3% on July 1. We didn't go to the bargaining table and say we wanted 10%. We didn't go to the bargaining table and say we wanted 5%. We said we want the cost of living adjustment on July 1st, because we thought that was the responsible position to take. And we said 2.3% will barely do it, because you're already down 13% since the year 2000 when you compare the salary increases that you've gotten with the increases in the cost of living since the year 2000, and you subtract what you have paid in additional money out of